To DodgerHeads Live, presented by DodgerBlue.com, part of the Medium Large Sports Network. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined tonight by Blake Williams, Anthony Witrado, here to celebrate the LA opening day victory for the Dodgers, 5-4, 3 home runs. Blake Snell's comes back for the Dodgers, his Dodgers debut in a major league game, non-spring training game. Anthony and Blake are wearing matching hats, matching gold hats. There's Ohtani gear everywhere. Blake, I'll come to you first. It wasn't pretty. I'm not sure how good the Tigers are, but a win's a win.
Yeah, I mean, the Tigers are a solid team. They were a playoff team last year, and they have some quality players on that team. Like Tariq Skubal is a really good player, so it's hard to be too upset that it was only like a 5-4, not a pretty win necessarily, but they played a good team. They ended up getting the win still, so that's all you can ask for.
Anthony, what about you? What jumps out to you most from the game that we just watched?
Yeah, I agree with Blake, first of all, that the Tigers are a good team. They're not the Tigers of a few years ago. But I think the first couple of things that jumped out to me from tonight were we got a bit of the Snell experience.
I wouldn't say the full. I think a bit. You framed it right. This wasn't the full Snell experience, but it was a taste.
No. But a lot of traffic, 4 walks, got some swing and miss, got some run prevention out of it. So we saw that from him. And then this very well may not be a sign of things to come. I'm not saying this for that reason, but I did wonder about Blake Trinan's sort of just general effectiveness this season. And he was not sharp. He had flashes of sharpness and the guy who is a bullpen ace kind of arm, but just not super sharp today. It's game 3. It's essentially their first game again of the season. So, not to make too much of it, but yeah, you would have liked to see him get through that last inning a little cleaner.
Yeah. The bullpen as a whole, 4 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. We could talk a little bit about just kind of the strategy of deployment there, going with Tanner Scott in the 8th, Ben Kasparius and Vesia before him, and then going to Trinan. Anthony Bonda almost got a save. I think he was one batter away from being in that game, but Blake Trinan ends up getting out of it. I joked, Blake, we got to see an 0 for 15 with runners in scoring position, and it wasn't the Dodgers. Perfect day, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was part of the Snell experience in there, and then some of their other relievers were pulling that Snell experience off a bit too, just to kind of build on that. But yeah, it wasn't a pretty day for the pitching staff, but they did enough to keep the Dodgers in the lead for the entire game, essentially. And yeah, the offense did enough that they needed to. So that's all you really need to see from them in a game. Like, they're not going to have pretty games all the time, but they did enough to get the win, and that's all that really matters. It was just nice to see that, yeah, like you said, the Tigers were on the other end of the runners in scoring position issues.
Yeah, Dodgers only had 2 at-bats with runners in scoring position, to put this in perspective. Now, Anthony, you could frame that as, oh man, the Dodgers kind of escape, get lucky. One team has 15 at-bats with runners in scoring position. The other only has 2. And you could say, oh, the Dodgers maybe fortunate to get out of here with the win. The flip side is, when you hit 3 home runs, that's kind of the great equalizer here. That's why there weren't a ton of runners in scoring position, because Tommy Edman just put it over the fence. Teoscar Hernandez put it over the fence with a couple of runners on, and then Shohei Ohtani put one over the fence as well. So this is the Dodgers offensive side of things. And this is the beauty, Anthony. We talked a little bit after Japan. The beauty of this team is you can get sort of a B- level performance from one side of the team. As long as the other one is giving you the B+ A- version, you're still going to win a lot of games.
Yeah. The entire construction of this lineup is that they will grind you down. And on the days that they're not manufacturing in that way, they're capable of being 3 swings away from, kind of putting games out of reach. And so you saw that today. And, to Blake's first point when we first started the show, this is a good team. And they were facing the reigning AL Cy Young Award winner.
Yeah.
And we're able to, so it wasn't going to be a cakewalk for the offense. They were going to have to fight against this guy. And they were able to put runs on the board and like Blake said, kept the lead virtually the entire game for the most part. So yeah, tough opponent, tough pitcher on the other side. No qualms with what the offense did here today. If the Tigers get those 15, and part of that too was there's some nuance and context to that, right? Like, if Snell allows a guy to get to second with nobody out, well, the next 3 guys, the next 4 guys, however, whatever it is, they're going to have at bats with runners in scoring position. If he's practicing run prevention, which he did for the most part, those at bats will stack. They'll stack, and if you put up 0 up, then you're probably going to be okay. So yeah, I thought it was a really good win considering who they were facing.
Yep.
All the circumstance around home opener and the celebration. It'll be like that tomorrow as well. So we got a Tommy Tanks, we got an Ohtani homer. Teo got on the board. I thought it was a good win, just all around.
Look, if you face Tarik Skubal and come out with a win, you nail him for 4 earned runs and 6 hits in 5 innings. Like, this is probably the number 2 pitcher in all of Major League Baseball. Like, if we're putting Paul Skeens at number 1, Skubal is at least in that conversation, top 2 or top 3. And to get 4 runs off of him, yes, I know it's the first game for the Tigers, and yes, I know it's early in the season, yada, yada, yada. That's a good performance. Like, if you go up against Skubal and walk away with a victory, I think you're happy about that. The Dodgers were favored tonight. I think it was like minus 175 was the Dodgers to win this game, but against a team like this, baseball, anything can happen. So let's get to a couple super chats. We got 3 super chats here. 300 says, but bullpen struggled a lot tonight, but they'll get their rhythm going soon. Tanks, Teo, and Ohtani. Good stuff. 3 home runs for the Dodgers. That's the key. Stockton Slat says Snell needs to stop nibbling and attack. Annoying. Blake, do you want to tell him, or do you want me to tell him that this is the Blake Snell experience and you might as well get used to it?
Yeah, this is how Snell is going to pitch throughout the entire season. He's going to give up a lot of walks. He's going to allow some hits here and there, but he's usually going to keep runs off the board or hold them to a minimum. I do think it was pretty funny. Like, it's the ultimate baseball thing where up until Skubal allowed that homer, I think everyone would have said, like, he's out pitching Blake Snell, and it wasn't even like necessarily close, just on a performance dominant level. Snell was kind of laboring throughout the entire game. A lot of runners, a lot of traffic against him, and he held the Tigers to 2 runs, and then Skubal makes 1 bad pitch, and the Dodgers take advantage of it, and suddenly he has a 4 earned run next to his name, which just funny how that stuff works, because I think most people would say Skubal was probably the better pitcher throughout most of the game. So as long as Snell keeps doing his thing, though, like, he's going to be fine. It's going to be annoying. We're going to have starts like this, but the ERA is going to be good at the end of the day.
And I'll jump in here too real quick, Jeff. This is who he is in terms of, like, why he doesn't give up hard contact also. Like, if you were watching the ESPN broadcast, I don't even know if the game was on both channels, but on the ESPN broadcast, Eduardo Perez kept talking about how those hits he were giving, like, nothing was above like 85 miles an hour off the bat, right? Like, it was really soft contact. And that's sort of his MO. He nibbles so that he misses barrels. And when guys are patient against him, yes, he's going to walk some guys. But his thing is that it's on purpose. It's not a lack of control. He's not wanting to pitch into the zone. So I think, Dodger Nation, all of our fan base will sort of get used to this. But this is what it is. Like Blake said, buckle in, because this is what a Blake Snell start looks like. And usually he'll get a little deeper into games, and there's going to be times where he looks brilliant, and he'll still have 4 walks. But this is how he goes about his business.
Yeah, and we've talked about that. And Lance, when he's been on the show, has been great about that. And it's something I'm learning as a baseball fan, is kind of there's a new approach to pitching that guys like Blake Snell have, which is I can live with walks. Like, typically for the longest time, a walk has been the worst thing that a starting pitcher, a relief pitcher, any type of pitcher can give up. It's a free base runner, et cetera, et cetera. Don't even let the guy put the ball in play, kind of, and force him to earn himself a hit. But the flip side has come back around with guys like Blake Snell, which saying, I get so much swing and miss and so much soft contact that I'm not really worried about teams being able to string together 2 or 3 hits against me. I would much rather live on the corners. If I can throw strikes, I'm going to get a bunch of strikeouts. And if I get walks, guess what? I'll strike out the next guy. And so it's going to look like nibbling. I get that. But this is just the Blake Snell experience. So prepare yourself for it.
I will say, I think his command was off today a bit. I don't think it was there like where it is during when he's in his peak stretches or a bit later into the season. Like, there are some moments where he like bounced the ball in the dirt with the runner on third, but it was 5 feet in front of the plate, and then it got away from Will Smith there and allowed the run to score. Like, that's not his kind of pitching around guys type thing that he's going to do. That was just poor command there. And I think he dealt with that kind of throughout the game, but I think we'll see, like, even though it'll still be like nibbling type appearance, he'll have better command of it, and we won't see as many like brutal pitches that just completely missed.
Yeah, 41% in the zone tonight for Blake Snell. I was trying to look up really quickly, and I'm not going to be able to, kind of what his zone percentage has been historically. Oh, here we go. Look at us. We're finding it. Yeah, so it was 42.8% last year in the zone. So he's a little bit down from where he was last year. For some context, it was 39.9% in the zone in 2023. So this is just the world that Blake Snell lives in. Is able to get a lot of swing and miss inside the zone and a lot of swing and miss outside the zone. Some more here.
Go ahead. Too, real quick, for game one for him, again, with everything that was going on around him today, pretty good final result for him. You know, he's working into it. And for a guy who kind of starts slowly, which I don't necessarily buy that narrative, but if you want to buy into that, pretty good start for a guy who starts slowly.
All right. Some more super chats here. The Dachshund dude says, Blake, have you seen the new clubhouse upgrades?
I have not. I'll be there tomorrow and I'll get to check them out for the first time. So I'll have to report back later.
There you go. Dr. Cole with a huge super chat says, are we still donating for an Epic t-shirt? I need Anthony's t-shirt. I was looking those up, Anthony, once I saw the super chat. You might be able to get yourself triple digits on eBay with one of those bad boys.
Yeah, I got a couple of them. The New Balance was kind enough last season to send me a couple along with a couple of other things. So I've had a good relationship with New Balance for a long time with some of the work that I've done in PR and also some of the work I did with Forbes. So shout out to anybody who might be listening from New Balance. But yeah, these shirts and the gear they made for the 50-50 season all of it was just dope.
Blake, now's your moment. You got a Shohei Ohtani hat in Japan. I don't know if I know you showed it to us before. I don't know if it's still right nearby, but
yeah, got the Shohei from the Shohei pop-up. We posted a video of it. It's got the 50-50 patch and the Tokyo New Balance, and then on the back it's got 2025 Tokyo there. So yeah, pretty.
I think there's cool I think there's some version of that. I don't know if it's got all the patches. But they have an entire line, it looks like, on New Balance with that exact same logo on a bunch of different clothing items. So I don't think it's a Dodgers like a hat. I don't know if I see a hat. But you can get that on a shirt, you can get that on a sweatshirt, you can get that on a woven nylon jacket if you would like. So there you go. Shout out to New Balance for putting out some Ohtani gear. But that is a sick hat, Blake. And I mentioned it, by the way, both you guys, the gold hats, Blake. Let's talk about this briefly. I know we have a couple more super chats to get to. It seemed like, now you were a guy, Blake, I'll give you credit. You have liked all of the gold stuff all along. It seems like there were some people, I won't name names, but there was a person I was texting with who is now claiming to like them more once they've seen them on the field, at least the jerseys, not the hats. Give me your thoughts, Blake. Seeing them, none of us were there in person, but on television, you liked the jerseys initially. You still like them?
Yeah, I thought they looked really good. I thought they looked better in person than they did when we first saw them. And like you said, I liked them when we first saw them. I mean, it's just the fun of it to be a little flashy and like kind of brag to start the season that you're the reigning World Series champions. Like, I'm all for that. Teams have been doing it. So yeah, I'm good with it.
Anthony?
I was on your train when we first saw the pictures. I did not like either. I'm still not the biggest fan of either. The hat grew on me the more I saw it. I was going to get it anyway because I was not going to not get the World Series hat. But I agree with. I saw a couple of these takes too online. I think that they did the jerseys played better on the field. I'm still not the biggest fan of them in comparison to the 2021 versions.
Yeah,
with just the gold outline. But they did look better on the field, on the players, than they did in just the pictures. And I'll say this too. They're going to wear them. They wore them today. They're going to wear them tomorrow night. Like, make this your Friday night home jersey. Like, just wear it now. Like, I've never understood only wearing it once for a lot of teams, and the Dodgers are going to do it twice this year. Like, make it a thing. You won the World Series last year. Make it a thing.
Did you guys want to respond at all to hold on a second, admin, again, anonymous admin here, which when there's three of us on the screen really narrowing themselves down about who this person might be, but gold jersey looked better tonight in product pictures. Hat sucks. Blake?
I like the hat. Like, you just get the little bit of the shine from the gold. I think it goes well with the blue. I think admin might not like it because it's a bit of UCLA colors, and so that might narrow it down a little bit more. But that's kind of my thinking there, because I think the blue and gold works together.
Yeah, it's just I'm just saying it's a tough look for the admin when 2 of the 3 people are wearing the hat that they say suck. I don't know if I'm an old man. The jerseys, there's like one too many colors going on. The red around the numbers, I think, is what bugs me the most. I think I've realized that.
I agree with you, Jeff. And that part of it does look a little like mismatched almost. Yeah.
So there you go. Maybe if they just got rid of the red, I would be fine with all the rest of it. I don't know.
I think if they did it with the blue outline, though, then like people would complain that they're like ditching the red aspect of the Dodger jersey. That's iconic. Like, it's a kind of the situation where you can't really win. Like, yeah.
You would have won if you would have just done a gold outline.
Like urine. So that's.
But they don't want to do like the same one. The Royals, I think, when they won, they changed theirs up again. So.
This is first world problems, right? When you win the World Series twice in 5 years, it gets complicated. Like, there's only so many things you could do with gold on the jersey. So what they're going to do next year?
I'm really, you know what? I'll say this. I'm really curious what they'll do for the 2026 home opener when the Dodgers are going to have to wear these again.
Yeah, maybe just full gold. Forget the white jersey at all. It's just going to be all gold. That's what I think the next step is.
Like
let's
Austin
see.
Powers.
Yeah, exactly. Dr. Cole, thank you for the super chat. Again, we appreciate it. Kevin says Mook and Freddie did not hit today. Mookie had a line drive in the box score. I mean, as far as I can tell, Mookie Betts was 1 for 3. I vaguely remember it being like a 26-mile-an-hour ground ball that bounced off of Tarek Skubal's leg, but I don't know. I mean,
the ball
he was about 18. Anthony, he was about 18 pounds short of hitting a home run in his first at bat.
I was going to say that, my first thought was he didn't have enough ass in that swing to get the ball out, because it looked like he hit it pretty good. But then on the super slow-mo replay, they keyed in on him, on his face, and it looked like as soon as it hit the bat, he knew he didn't get it. So maybe it wasn't a weight loss thing. Maybe it was just he didn't hit it well, but it looked good off the bat.
99.7 miles an hour off the bat for Mookie Betts on that one, by the way. 8th hardest hit ball of the season. So there you go. Blake, do you want to overreact to Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts struggling in this game?
Freddie, no, I'm not worried about. I am a little concerned about Mookie, at least in the early part of the season, because like losing that much weight when he's already a pretty small guy is like tough. He's not going to have the same power, at least early on. Like, I think he's going to need to take some time and build that strength back up, put some of the weight back on before like we really see the normal Mookie Betts. Like long term, like, yeah, I'm not like concerned about it overly. Just in the short term, yeah, a bit of concern.
Speaking of small sample size stuff, Stockton wants to know our thoughts on Tanner Scott. Lots of hard contact off of him all spring. Also, he gave up 3 hard hit balls in his 1 inning tonight, including a 103-mile-an-hour sacrifice fly after giving up the triple to Dodgers legend Zach McKinstry. Anthony, my question to you was going to be, did you have any issues with how the bullpen was deployed? I'm not here to like micromanage and like overreact to Dave Roberts, but I was under the impression that Tanner Scott was going to be the primary guy in the 9th inning. It was lefty, righty, lefty in the 8th. So they go with Tanner Scott. They give Trine in the 9th. Were you surprised by that?
No. This is sort of how I expected it to be deployed, even though they did call out like Tanner Scott would get the bulk of those save opportunities. But I think the reason why they're not naming him the closer is because of situations like that, what came up today. And so it made sense to me that they were going to give it to him. I mean, part of the reason the Dodgers went out and got this guy and were aggressive about him was because he dominated their lefties. And so, I understand the thinking behind it. And look, it was a really effective strategy last season to use to be matchup dependent late in the games versus just one guy, no matter what, and no matter who was coming up for the other team. So I was fine with it. It made sense to me. I was not surprised at all considering who was coming up. Yeah, it's game 3. I think guys still getting it under control. So I'm not too worried, but yeah, I'm fine with how the bullpen was deployed there.
Blake, what about you? Any concerns just based on kind of like, because if I'm remembering correctly, Tanner Scott actually got the bottom of the order in the 8th. And again, it was lefty, righty, lefty. Ironically, the two lefties went sacrifice fly and triple and 103-mile-an-hour sacrifice fly. So he wasn't fooling any of the lefties. But were you surprised to see him get the 8th and the bottom of the order?
No, because Dave Roberts has said, like, there's no set closer on this team. And even though Tanner Scott was going to get the majority of the saves, like, it's not a situation where he's going to get all the saves. And even though it was bottom of the order, like, I know you're going to laugh because we debated this. Kerry Carpenter was one of the guys coming up, and he was really, really good last year against righties. So you bring in one of your better relievers to neutralize him a bit. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that there, especially when it's not like you were going to some random guy to get the 9th inning because you gave Tanner Scott the 8th. Like, you had Blake Trinan and Kirby Yates available still for the 9th inning. So it's not a situation where you had to save one reliever for the biggest moment of the game to face the top of the lineup in the 9th inning. It's you have so many options. You get to play the matchups and face who you want them to face, and you don't have to focus on one specific part of the order necessarily.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's a great point. A couple more super chats here. Thanks, by the way, to the 1,000 people in here live on YouTube and Twitter. It looks like Facebook, we might be having issues. So apologies to anybody that tried to get on there. We appreciate you if you have found your way over here. Laura says, am I the only one upset Kiké may miss opening day and ring ceremonies due to the mystery illness? Blake, this thing keeps spreading. Mookie obviously had it. Now Kiké Hernández is down. There are reports that Michael Kopech might either be sick or have been sick as well. But Kiké Hernández, expected to be in the lineup today, was ultimately not in the lineup because of a stomach illness.
Yeah, being upset about it, like, yeah, sure. I think it's always a little disappointing when the players miss the ceremonies, even for the guys who aren't on the team anymore. Like, Jack Flaherty will be there, but he doesn't really get to partake in it. And the Ryan Braziers and Gavin Luxes who are no longer with the team, like, it is a celebration of all those guys as well. Part of me was hoping they'd give Blake Snell the start tomorrow so that Yamamoto could be involved in the ring ceremony and he would get the start today. But I mean, that's still just kind of a thing where they're not focused on that kind of thing. They're going to put the best matchups and stuff that they want for the games out there. So yeah, I mean, it's a little upsetting when guys aren't going to be there, but ultimately he's still going to get his ring and it probably doesn't matter all that much to him.
Was that number 4 hitter left fielder Gavin Lux that you were referring to there a minute ago, Blake, just to clarify?
Yeah, that was funny and surprising that they're doing that, but you know, I guess that's what happens when you're the Reds.
1 for 3 with a walk for Gavin Lux tonight out of the 4-hole. Also was looks like he got a defensive sub late in that game, which will surprise nobody. Anthony Stockton says, why does it seem like Kirk Gibson is forced to do any kind of appearance for the Dodgers? He looked rushed, threw a jersey over his collared shirt. What did you think of I think Stockton, we appreciate the super chat. I think you're going to be in the minority here with your feelings about the Kirk Gibson involvement in the pregame ceremony. Anthony, what did you think about that moment? Freddie meet Gibby.
I thought they nailed it in terms of sort of the concept there. I thought it was great. The Dodgers do that as well as any organization in any of the leagues. To use a baseball term, Gibby like just constantly has the ass. And so like he's always going to look like he doesn't want to be wherever he is at the moment, including when he was a manager. And so that's just Gibby. I thought it was a really cool moment though, to considering that those are maybe the 2 most iconic home runs in the franchise's history now. And to get them together for that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Blake, any thoughts on that moment?
I mean, I kind of joked about it because throughout that whole time from 88 to 2020, like that Kirk Gibson homer was all we saw at Dodger Stadium pretty much. Like every single moment was Gibson related. So I kind of joked that like, wow, we've already moved past this. We have a new moment and we're still going back to the Gibson moment. But I mean, outside of the joking there, like it was a pretty cool moment to see there.
Yeah. I just love, I mean, look, Kirk Gibson, the moment that he had, obviously is a guy diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And so I think anytime he can be around the team and around the game and involved was awesome. And hey, threw a nice little pitch, quick pitch. I like that. You know, there was no pitch clock needed with Kirk Gibson's first pitch. Freddie made a good catch. So just a cool moment to be able to have Freddie Freeman and his family out there and give him the shine that he deserves. Hector wants to know, Blake, the batting lineup was interesting. Does it change in the future for other lefties? Let's start with the fact that Teoscar Hernandez was batting 3rd and Freddie Freeman was batting 4th. Obviously, worked out okay. Teoscar Hernandez hit an absolute Nuke to center field. What were your thoughts on kind of that? And then we can get into what you and I debated a little bit earlier about Michael Conforto.
Yeah, I didn't really put any thought into Teo batting third because he did it a lot last year, especially in the second half versus lefties. Like once Mookie came back and the lineup got the full strength and everything, we saw Teoscar batting third when there's a lefty on the mound pretty much every time. So I don't know why it was kind of a discussed deal a lot today, but yeah, I didn't have any surprise over that. And then if you want to get into the Conforto stuff,
I've said on this show before, he was not expected to start opening day because there was a lefty on the mound. Then Mookie Betts goes out. He ends up playing in that game. He plays in the second game because Mookie Betts was out. And yet again, I mean, like, there's a world, Blake, where he starts 0 of the first 3 games for the Dodgers. And I know it's lefties, and I know for his career, he's basically a league average hitter against lefties. He was awesome last year. For the money they paid him and given the alternatives, I'll be honest, I was shocked that Michael Conforto did not get into this lineup.
Yeah, I was surprised by it, but like Dave did say, he's going to play against lefties more often, except against like the tough ones like Skubal and Sale there. So I would have preferred Conforto to play over someone like Muncy, who has now had 2 straight years of being below average for his lefties, and Conforto is coming off a really strong year against lefties. So that's probably a change I would have made. I think maybe if Kiké was healthy, we would have saw him in the lineup with Miguel Rojas, and then you wouldn't have had Muncy or Conforto in the lineup on a day like today where it is a really tough lefty. So I think we're going to see a lot of Dave mixing and matching with Conforto and guys like Muncy and their other lefties when it is a tough lefty on the mound, but he should get a lot of run going forward against them.
And I believe Anthony David has said that other than basically Chris Sale and Tarek Skubal, he's expecting Conforto to get some opportunities. So this isn't like a Jock Peterson, like 1000% platoon situation. Again, I just remain confused. I mean, look, Miguel Rojas, we know what he offers defensively in theory. To me, like if Kiké's there, I can squint, and Kiké's at second, and that's why Conforto's not playing. I can squint and make sense of it. I can't make sense of it with Miguel Rojas, Anthony.
Yeah, and Blake's probably right. If Kiké's available, maybe Rojas isn't in the lineup. But you mentioned Muncy. I would rather see a lefty-lefty Muncy matchup because there's a chance he runs into one versus putting Rojas out there to start against a guy like Skubal, even if it's opposite hand. And with Conforto in left field, like just give him the opportunity. Like if it's like 2 guys you're worried about, and one of the guys is not even in your league, then throw him out there. Like I want to see him. And it was just the 1 year, but he had reverse splits. So, let's see if it keeps up. It is what it is. We're nitpicking, I think, right now.
Totally.
But yeah, I do hope that he's going to take the majority of innings and at bats out of left field.
Well,
Blake, do you agree with that?
They do have 2 other righties on their bench that could play, Austin Barnes and Chris Taylor, if anyone wants them in the lineup. But yeah, I still think we're going to see a lot of Conforto against lefties, and I don't expect today's lineup to be the lineup we see a lot going forward. Like,
yeah,
if anything, we know the Dodgers are going to mix and match pretty much every day and run out a different lineup until they actually get to the postseason, when they start having some consistency on a daily basis. Like, that's just what they do. Aside from the top 4 hitters, or maybe even 5, if you want to throw in like Will Smith or Max Muncy in one of those categories, you're going to see the bottom 3 or 4 guys changing every single night, essentially. So that's just how they manage and how they're going to do it. And the lineup in game 1 isn't going to be the same lineup in game 2, and game 3 is going to be different. Game 4 is going to be different. So I don't have too many like thoughts on what needs to change or what they should have done or anything like that going forward.
Yeah. Welcome to a post-game show that's an hour long after an individual baseball game with only 2 in the rearview mirror. We're doing what we can with the information we've got. Steven says, thanks for what you guys do. Appreciate your analysis. One big takeaway for me is that we're 3-0 and Mookie and Freddie haven't shown up yet. Other teams, ahoy, be pretty fearful of that. Go blue. Look, again, Anthony, I feel like I'm a broken record here, but every single game that the Dodgers have played so far, I've come on here in the postgame show and said, well, this wasn't perfect and this wasn't perfect, but guess what? The Dodgers won. Like, Blake Snell wasn't dominant tonight. The bullpen wobbled a little bit. The Dodgers still won. Like, in Tokyo, it was the same story. Like maybe it was the pitching one day that was awesome and the offense did just enough, but that's the beauty of this team. They have so many ways that they can beat you. They can beat you with starting. They can beat you with the bullpen. They can beat you with Ohtani or Edman or Freeman or Betts or Teoscar or Will Smith or, like you don't need all those things to happen at the same time. You just need a couple of them. And tonight they did.
Yeah. This is why I get frustrated by the constant frustration about like who's manning the 26th spot on the roster.
Yeah.
Because this team is so deep. And I'll say it again, that 26th man is not going to make or break their World Series chances this season. It's just not. And
you can say Chris Taylor. You could just say Chris Taylor out loud.
Yeah,
you don't have to anonymously say
the chat's already fired up about that name. I don't even want to, Blake threw it out there once already. That's enough.
Hold up. Chris Taylor's 25th. Luis Garcia's 26th. Let's just get that clear.
Right. 25th and 20th. Yeah. See, like I said, we didn't even know who the 26th guy was. But look, they're called the deepest lineup in baseball for a reason.
Yeah. And
Mookie and Freddie have not shown up yet, and they're still able to do what they're doing. So, that's why they've gone out and created this kind of depth. It's why they went and got Conforto, even though he didn't play today. To be able to have those kinds of weapons at their disposal, so that if Shohei goes 0 for 4, somebody else might come through and hit a 3-run shot or something like that. Like this team is deep. This lineup is deep. And when we start to, have our first world frustrations with the bottom third of the lineup at some point this season, like we did last year, go look at someone else's bottom third of their lineup.
Yeah. They started the ESPN broadcast with Carl Ravitch, who I didn't think was awesome tonight, asking David Cohn and saying, is this the greatest lineup that has ever been constructed to defend a World Series title? And David Cohn, I thought, had the perfect answer, which was, I don't think I'm qualified to answer that question necessarily, but if you're asking my opinion, it sure seems like you can make a pretty good argument for it, which I just felt like, as if I'm going to bash one guy, I thought Cohn's answer there was perfect because he didn't make some Stephen A. Smith hot take. He just kind of said, if you're asking me a baseball history question, I don't know, but they're pretty damn good. And I tend to agree with that. We've gone over it. I think they have the best starting pitching. I think they have the best bullpen. And I think they have the best lineup. And I think they have the best manager too. So when you have all four of those things going in your favor, I think it's a pretty good combination. Blake, I saw a smile there as I said those things. Did you want to dispute something there?
You didn't mention the front office. Are you not considering them the best?
I mean, like, the front office has less to do on like a day-to-day basis. The front office dominates the offseason. They'll go find guys. You're true. It did cross my mind of like, and they're going to go find 3 dudes you've never heard of before, like whatever minor leaguer they traded for today. Like that guy's going to be throwing leverage innings here in a couple of months, I think.
I mean, they still do a lot with the game planning. It's kind of my point there. Like, if you're outsmarting teams and you're also out-talenting them, like you're going to win a lot of games.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a great point, and we'll mention them. Speaking of, by the way, tease a small little interview. It's not Andrew Friedman, but we got a fun front office interview tomorrow. So we'll just tease that a little bit. Stay tuned to the Dodger Blue 1958 YouTube page because I think you'll like it. I'm excited about it. Tim G, super chat. Looking forward to another season with you guys. Tim, the feeling is mutual. Thank you for joining us. Ivan with the super chat. Thoughts on the Rojas Jazz Chisholm story? Disappointing, in my opinion. I agree with you. I thought when Jazz Chisholm had the story that came out a couple of days ago on The Athletic, saying basically bringing up an old story, but I felt like adding new details, which is that some of the quote unquote rookie hazing or whatever that Miguel Rojas was responsible for was cutting up a pair of Jazz Chisholm's cleats, dumping milk and ruining another pair of cleats, doing it that way. To the point that Don Mattingly actually had to call a team meeting and basically say, hey, cut this stuff out. Today, Miguel Rojas was asked about it by Fabian Ardai of The Athletic, who wrote a follow-up piece. And from my perspective, Blake, Rojas looks really, really stupid in this whole thing because he kind of no-commented the whole thing. He didn't deny any of it happened. They had at least one anonymous source that basically verified Jazz's version of the story and not Rojas's. Rojas wouldn't deny anything, kind of moved on. I'm not saying Miguel Rojas is currently a bad player. Blake, when I read all of this, the only word I could think of is Miguel Rojas sure seemed like a bully back in these days with Jazz Chisholm?
Yeah, I think baseball has long had like that kind of a toxic culture on some of these things where rookie hazing has been a normal thing. And I'm sure Miguel Rojas like came up in the league with that kind of thing happening to rookies. And same with guys like Freddie Freeman, Kershaw, like all the older guys on the team and throughout baseball, like that was the normal for them. And they probably tried to like keep that tradition going because that's how they were like raised in that baseball culture. Not saying it's a good thing or anything. And it seems like MLB and teams around the league have like made the steps to like really get rid of that and cut it out or make the rookie hazing much more minor, like sending the rookie out to go get coffee dressed in full uniform type thing is something a lot of teams do. And like, that's fine now, but destroying other property, stuff like that, it's long been happening in baseball throughout history. And that's just kind of what it's been. So I don't think it's like fully a thing with Miguel Rojas specifically, where he is the bad guy in the story, which he is. He comes across that way. It's what happened, but that's been kind of the baseball culture for so long. It's just kind of ingrained in some of these guys. And like, it's not to write it off or anything. I think it's just also, you have to have that understanding of how the clubhouses have operated for so long.
Yeah. And Anthony, I think like part of the problem in this whole thing is it's Miguel Rojas. I think, look, I don't think this behavior is appropriate for anybody. I kind of chuckle at the fact that it's like Miguel Rojas, who in his entire major league career has kind of had one good season, and it was the 2020 60-game season. And other than that, he's been very, I think middling was the word that Judge Chisholm used, which you could make a case might be a compliment to Miguel Rojas's overall game. But give me your thoughts real quick on this before we move on.
Yeah, I have several, as our group chat knows, on different aspects of this entire story. I'll say a couple of things, and that'll be it. Is one, Blake, I agree that culture or that sort of ritualization of the hazing and all that stuff used to be prominent. It hasn't really been though in a long time.
And to be fair, the story that we're talking about is like 5 or 6 years ago, right?
Well, when I say long time, I'm talking about like 10 years ago. Like this stuff has kind of really started to die down. Teams have discouraged it. And also like as the money's grown too, like teams just have too much invested to like start pissing off their best prospects when the day that they get into the clubhouse, right? Like, especially from veterans who like are not going to be on the team, for more than a couple of years. So like I said, this stuff has started to sort of lose its luster. It's a lot more innocent now. It's dressing up for team flights, that kind of stuff. Like Blake said, go get donuts in the uniform out in public, all of that sort of stuff. But like the meanness really has not been a huge part of clubhouse culture for a long time now. So if this is true, and I'm one to believe that it is true given Rojas's response to this. And I said in the group chat, what this forced somebody to do now is ask Rojas about it again.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they had to. He comes off like the a-hole here.
Yeah.
And because you know what, like it wasn't like he put shaving cream in his shoes or what, like he cut up a pair of custom made cleats that I don't know Jazz, and I'm not a big Jazz fan, like, personality wise and stuff. I don't mind the pimping and the gold child. Like that's all fine. I don't care about that stuff. He rubs me the wrong way for other reasons, but like, those shoes, especially as young as he was, and like those shoes probably meant something to him to have those. Like that's a big deal. And for a guy to go in there, I don't care if it was Rojas or anybody else, for a guy to go in there and do that to someone else's property, hands might have been up in a clubhouse for a different guy if that happened to somebody else.
Yeah. And to be clear, the Jazz was approached to do this sort of whole thing on his story and yada, yada, yada. So I don't think Jazz is bringing this up. Anthony, I'm glad you were answering that and not watching the Laker game because I'm just looking at a box score here. The Lakers were up 5. They gave up a 3 with 10 seconds left. LeBron turned it over with 7 seconds and then gave up immediately another 3 to go down by 1. And then with 3 seconds left, the Lakers did just score. They are now back up 1, it appears. So
this is an Austin game, huh?
So they gave up back-to-back threes in 3 seconds to go from up 5 to down 1 under 10 seconds. They just lost. They just lost.
Half-court game winner for the Bulls.
That might be the craziest 10-second ending of a basketball game ever. Yeah.
Well, we're turning this off.
That's brutal. Anthony's going to need a minute here.
To give him a minute, speaking of basketball, how about the Clippers shouting out the Padres today?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's so perfect. It's literally so perfect. I have no notes for the social media teams. You all are perfect for each other. Clippers fans, Padres fans, you're perfect for each other.
The Clippers are such a AAA franchise.
It's crazy. I can't believe that. Just looking at the play-by-play of this Lakers game seems like a disaster. Check out Lakers Nation. That'll be a fun post-game show when we're done here. Trevor and the guys, I'm sure that'll be a good one.
It was a running, heaving, guys in his face half-court prayer in it, all net.
So 3 threes in 10 seconds for the Bulls, and the Lakers lose by 2. It's going to be the final there. Peyton says, this is the reason I was never hyped on Snell. I knew this situation would happen, probably will happen multiple times this year. Peyton, I have good news. He gave up 2 runs and the Dodgers won. So those are situations that I think are going to happen lots and lots of times this year. Blake, it's early, right? I know we want Blake Snell to just be dominant from day one. Padres fans would tell you that this is a much better version on day one than they saw. But for day one against Terry Skubal on the other side, who gave up 4 runs and he was the Cy Young Award winner. You saw 2 of the 3 best pitchers in the world today, Blake. And the better of the 2 pitched for the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, being upset after 5-inning, 2-run game, even with the walks and traffic, I can't fully get on board with that. I know it wasn't a pretty game or anything. He definitely had some struggles there and just a lot of traffic dealing with a lot of balls. But he gave up 2 runs at the end of the day and the Dodgers got the win. I can't sit on that and be upset about it. We're going to see some more starts like that, sure. But if he's going 5 innings, giving up 2 runs and walking 4 or 5 guys in the start, you can live with that. And he's also going to turn in a lot of starts where he goes 6 innings, no runs, 10 Ks, 3 walks, and you're going to love it. So That's just the Blake Snell experience. And overall, he's going to end up with a low ERA, a lot of strikeouts, a lot of walks, and it's going to be pretty good overall.
Yeah. Look, innings pitched and earned runs at the end of a Blake Snell start. Look at those 2 numbers, and 5 innings 2 is not an A+, but it's good enough. I love this. Stockton Slap says seeing Jeff's lower body in the clubhouse was odd. LOL. Happy to provide. There are legs underneath this desk, believe it or not. He also asks, will this hurt Rojas's chance of being a coach? Who knows? I mean, these guys that become coaches, it just feels so random. He wouldn't be my choice to be coach if this is in his back pocket and didn't choose to apologize or anything. But there you go. 300 says, aside from the outfield defense, everything with the Dodgers is elite. Blake, Andy Pages, no issues at all with that fly ball out there in left field.
All the Gold Gloves.
It was like the Blake Snell start where it wasn't pretty, but he got the job done.
Yeah. There you go.
He almost got backpicked on first base at one point too, which would have just completed the Andy Pages trifecta if we got just a falling down what could have been a routine fly ball and then a base running mistake. But kudos to Andy Pages because he goes 1 for 3, catches all the baseballs hit in his direction, and that's good news. So if you're just joining us again, the Dodgers beat the Tigers 5-4. I'll give you a quick little rundown. We'll get to some questions, and then I know the people want to hear from my guy Blake. It's his first time on the show since he has returned from the land of Ohtani, and so I'm sure we'll have some stories and questions to get to. Things started early in the top of the second. The Tigers put runners on first and third with nobody out, but Spencer Torkelson gets caught in between third base and home. No idea what he's doing with no outs on a dribbler 3 feet in front of the plate. Blake Snell points it out to Will Smith. They get him at third and then a ground out fly out. Everybody gets stranded. Bottom of the second, Anthony, Scott's guy, Tommy Edman with yet another home run. Anthony predicted a massive career high in home runs. He appears off to a good start with that. 2 home runs in 3 games for Edman. The Dodgers put 2 on with 2 outs in the bottom of the third, but Teoscar Hernandez not able to cash it in. So they take a 1-0 lead into the top of the fourth. Again, it was Spencer Torkelson and Manuel Margot who seemed to get on base every single time those 2 guys were up. After a fly out and a ground out, put them at second and third with 2 outs. The Dodgers walk the bases loaded, and then a wild pitch from Blake Snell makes it 1-1. He ends up getting a strikeout of the number 9 hitter to get out of that one. Anthony, real quick, one thing I thought that was interesting in that stretch, and I didn't pay attention the whole game, but it seemed unique, was that in that top of the fourth, Blake Snell started calling his own pitches. I wasn't paying attention if he was doing that the entire game, But at least that stretch, once he kind of had the bases loaded, he was calling his own pitches. He ends up throwing 2 curveballs in the dirt in a row, and the second one just about bounces over Will Smith's head.
Yeah, I didn't notice that either.
Blake, were you paying attention? Was that something he was doing the entire game, or was it just for that stretch?
I was not
I
paying
didn't see
attention
it for the entire game.
Okay, so maybe just for that stretch.
Yeah, so interesting that they went to that. The conversation that they showed between him and Will Smith in the dugout after the bounced ball and the run scored, that was interesting. It didn't look heated or anything, but looked like maybe they were trying to get on the same page about something.
Yeah.
And so curious what that was about, if anybody asked about it post game or whatever. But yeah, that's interesting. I didn't even notice that until you brought it up right now.
Yeah. So again, that makes the score 1-1 through 4. In the top of the 5th, sack fly puts the Tigers up 2-1 after a single walk with 1 out. Snell survives. There was somebody on staff that predicted maybe 4 1/3 for Blake Snell. It looked like it might come true there for a second. He ends up getting through the inning, gets a full 5 innings there. Bottom of the 5th is when the Dodgers broke through, single, walk, and then Teoscar Hernandez, an absolute smash to dead center field that puts this game at 4-2. Top of the 6th, the Tigers threaten again. Ben Kasparius in. First 2 hitters reach, but then he gets Kerry Carpenter on an infield pop-up, a strikeout, and a groundout. Gets him out of the jam. Vesia gives up a missile to Torkelson in the 7th to make it 4-3. The Dodgers respond right back with Ohtani, a 5-3 home run opposite field for him. And then the top of the 8th, Tanner Scott in. We've mentioned this leadoff triple for Zach McKinstry. He comes in to score to make it 5-4. And then Blake Trinan comes in for what was an eventful top of the 9th inning. He gives up a single to start, gets a strikeout, a walk, a strikeout, and then a pop-up. The Tigers, again, go 0 for 15 with runners in scoring position, did have a pair of sac flies, and the Dodgers win this one 5-4. As far as the box score goes, Blake Snell, 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts, did have 14 whiffs, a whiff rate over 30%. We talked about the Blake Snell experience. There you go. And then the Dodgers bullpen. Not awesome today, not perfect, but 4 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts for those 3 guys. Vesia ends up striking out the side in his inning, although you'd probably forget that because it wasn't an overly dominant performance from him as well. So Dodgers win 5-4. They are 3-0, Blake, and they're definitely going to win the World Series, right? 3-0. I mean, it's pretty much a lock.
Yeah, probably. I would say at least 99% odds.
There you go. I like it. Okay, let's get to some questions, folks. We got 15 or so minutes here. If you've got questions about the game, I see we've got some questions about Blake's trip to Japan as well that we'll get to here in just a second. But let's get to goes. We got Yamamoto and Sasaki, by the way, in these next 2 games against the Tigers. And Anthony, I'll just say this while questions sort of start populating. They got through the Tarek Skubal start here. Yeah. So once you get through him, once you move him to the side, I mean, Jack Flaherty, all due respect, 2024 World Series champion, Jack Flaherty. But this was the one where you felt like you might have a slight starting pitching disadvantage. To get a win there, you feel good about your chances in the next 2, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Excited for Yamamoto. The first stateside start for him with the ceremony going on behind him and all that. So, I expect him to be sharp. I do. We talked about Snell sort of still maybe trying to find it a little bit. I think Yamamoto comes out and he's much sharper. But then on Saturday, very, very interested in what Sasaki looks like. And, is the command under, does he have better command of the fastball? What does the splitter look like? How much does he mix that slider in now? So yeah, a lot to look for in these next 2 games against the Tigers for sure.
All right. We got some questions here. A couple questions. TQT says Vesia lies on the induced vertical break, less on velocity. Velo has been down all spring. Any worry? Realm Treader, same question. His velocity, a little concerning. 92.9 was the average velocity on his fastball tonight. It was 93.4 last year, 94.4 the year before that. He definitely is more of a IVB than velocity guy, but my understanding, Blake, not that I'm saying you have to be the expert here. I think those 2 things are somewhat related, though. Like, I think if the fastball slows down, then the IVB isn't as impressive. What do you make of kind of what we've seen from Vesia so far?
I think it's a little concerning. I think there's always concern with relievers just at the base level, which we've talked about a lot on this show. Like, there's a lot of randomness to relievers, especially when you see a velocity drop. I think that adds to the concern. I think coming off of a long season last year and then a short spring training and a short off season might have something to do with it. Whether that's a good thing or bad thing remains to be seen. It could be he just needs more time to like fully build up and get his strength. Could also mean like he's still fatigued from last year and not fully recovered, or maybe there's something else going on like injury related, which is worst case scenario there. So I think it's too early to say like either which way, but it is a little concerning just because it's the unknown.
Yeah. I mean, Anthony, the flip side to everything I just said is he did strike out the side today. So on one hand, yes, he gives up the missile. On the other, he gets 3 strikeouts. So I was just going to look. Yeah, I mean, he got 2 whiffs on 9 swings tonight. Alex Vesia did. 39% though was the called strike plus whiff rate. Small sample size, but anything you've seen from Vesia that has you concerned, Anthony?
No, not really. I mean, like Blake said, if an injury is part of this, then that's I see it as the only reason to be concerned at this point. Let's let him get into the season. Let's get him, get his sea legs under him. And if for one, I think he can pitch at this velocity still. But like if we're seeing big dips a month into the season, then it's time to start asking the questions. But I think it's too early right now. The sample size is 1 inning.
Okay, Jason says, anyone surprised by Benny Cap's role this season? They don't seem to mind him in medium leverage. Does he remind you maybe of any other Dodgers reliever? I'm guessing they're a little bit, Jason. But Blake, are you surprised by Kasperius's role here?
Slightly. I thought he'd be more of like the long reliever in the bullpen who's going to come in for multiple innings when they need it. I'm not fully surprised because his stuff is really good, and I see why they would trust him in these bigger spots and not just kind of stick him in a mop-up role. So yes and no. A little surprised, not totally surprised. I think they're kind of high on him and believe in him. So yeah, I'd be a little surprised if we don't see him get into like higher leverage roles at some point in the season.
It does feel like they're almost running line shifts here with the relievers where it's like, these are the guys that we're pitching today and these are the guys that we're pitching tomorrow. And so if that's the case, then him being the first guy in is kind of the low leverage role that I think most people assumed that he would be trusted with. The flip side is when Luis Garcia is, as Blake pointed out, the 26th man on the roster, you're not going to be the lowest leverage guy that exists because Luis Garcia is a thing. And so I'll be curious. He's fascinating to me, Anthony, just from the perspective of they still want him to be a starter long term. Right. And so how they balance that desire with clearly at this point needing him in the bullpen, which helps because it'll limit some innings, get him some experience. Like there's a lot of positives, but 3 or 4 months from now, I think is where it gets interesting and they have to make some decisions about, do we want this guy to be a starter this year or do we want to leave him in the bullpen because he's going to become a weapon out there?
Yeah. I tend to lean toward that. Like if he produces, he's just going to be a reliever for at least this season. I don't think they start shuttling him to start and then bring him back up for a spot start maybe and send him back down. I don't think that he ends up in that situation. I think he ends up a part of this bullpen as long as he's producing. I think they want him there. And yes, eventually I do think that they hope that his future is as a starter. But I don't think they're thinking that for this season. Even when they start to like get creative with the rotation, I think there's probably other guys ahead of him in that line once everyone's healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. We got some Japan questions, but we're going to shoot through a few more baseball ones first. Tim says, Anthony, I feel like the Dodgers will win 90% of games when they score 4 or more runs. Agree or disagree? That's a 90 is a big number. The number used to be 5 for me. I expect the Dodgers to win if they score 5, but he asks 90% over 40. Agree or disagree?
I'd say it's probably more like 70, 75%.
Okay.
Which is like, I don't know what that pace is. It's like you're breaking records still, probably. Yeah. So
that's 120 win pace.
Yeah. You're breaking records there. So 90 would be an absolutely ridiculous pace because you know what, this team, what did they average for runs last year? I don't even know, but they're very capable of averaging 4 runs a game.
Yeah, absolutely. Blake Morgan wants to know, any idea if the ring ceremony tomorrow will be similar to the 2021 where the guys got videos of their favorite players congratulating them on winning the World Series.
Forgot about that.
It is a total surprise the Dodgers have not shared anything about what's happening during the ring ceremony or any of the surprise stuff with us.
There you go. There you go. I was trying to find the runs per games. 2024, Dodgers 5.26 runs per game in 2024. Second in Major League Baseball. Who was the highest scoring team last year? Blake?
Was it the D-backs?
The D-backs. There you go. Your Snakes. I heard that I heard that stat mentioned on like 4 podcasts this week. It's the only reason I knew it.
Yeah, it's because everyone the hot thing this week is to pick the Diamondbacks over the Dodgers.
Well, I'll be honest. I have not heard anybody picking the Diamondbacks over the Dodgers. I heard somebody saying take the over win total on the Diamondbacks. But there you go. A Pat Shee. I like that. Thoughts on the return of Emmett Sheehan, where he fits into the current roster? He was added to the 60-day IL today. No surprise there. We knew he was going to be out. He spoke to us, and I believe June-ish was the timeline that we got from him. He said he's had no setbacks, which obviously we cross our fingers and hope that remains the case. But what do you think, Blake? Like, what's his role going to be? Let me ask it this way. Do you think he has a role in the 2025 Dodgers, or do you think this is a build back up, develop, get reps in the minor leagues, and we'll see you in 2026 here?
More of the latter, unless things are going poorly with the health of the pitching staff, and then they might have to like force him into the plans a little bit more. But like, if everyone's healthy, which they probably won't be, but if like 6 or 7 of the guys are healthy, then like I don't really see where Sheehan is fitting necessarily onto the team. Like, he wouldn't be above Snell, Yamamoto, Glasnow, Roki, Gonsolin, May, or Kershaw. So if 3 or 4 of those guys are injured, then yeah, maybe he sneaks in, but I just don't see like where he necessarily makes sense other than that.
Well, you just gave me, this is a great segment here for a second. Who makes more starts in 2025 at the major league level? Emmett Sheehan or Bobby Miller, Blake?
Bobby Miller, because he's healthy-ish already. He's still like building back up, but he has the edge there.
Okay. Anthony, do you want to play this game, or do you want me to just play with Blake here?
It's Bobby Miller.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Sheehan's going to be better than Bobby Miller. I think Miller gets the edge because he's at least healthy right now, and they're at their weakest, most vulnerable point. But I think if Emmett Sheehan is available and they need a pitcher in August, I think Sheehan would be ahead of Bobby Miller, is my guess.
A lot of guys would have to be off the table for him to be.
For both those guys. Both those guys. Okay, Blake, Emmett Sheehan or Justin Robleski? More appearances more starts at the major league level.
I feel like that one's a toss-up. I'm gonna go.
You're saying starts only, right?
Yeah, I said starts.
I'm gonna go with Sheehan just because I think he's better. So yeah.
Okay, so you have Bobby Miller ahead of Robleski also, right? Like more likely to get starts at the major league level?
Probably.
I would, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then the last one I think is the easiest. Landon Knack gets more starts than him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Landon Knack's ahead of all those guys. Do we agree on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Love it. Aaron wants to know, who is Noah Davis? Blake, do you know anything about Noah Davis?
Yeah, so they acquired Noah Davis earlier today from the Red Sox for cash considerations, and that ended up with Emmett Sheehan going on the 60-day IL to make room on the 40-man roster. Noah Davis is a guy who has not had a ton of success at the major league level. I think he has like a career 7.7 ERA and 50 innings. And last year it was like 6 or something around there in 20 innings. So like the numbers on the surface have not been great. I think what they're seeing in the upside there is he's a reliever with 7 pitches, which most relievers have 2. So when you have a reliever with 7 pitches, you can work with some things there. Either as a sinker, a sweeper, a cutter, a 4-seam, a screwball, a curveball, and a changeup. So like maybe they really like one of those pitches and feel like he isn't utilizing it enough. I haven't looked too deep into any of him besides that type of stuff yet, but anytime the Dodgers are acquiring a reliever, it's probably something we should take at least some note of, because they seem to do pretty well when they target relievers that we haven't necessarily heard of before.
He'll be brought in the 8th inning of a 1-run game in Game 3 of the World Series, and he'll strike out the side.
It does look like Davis, it kind of had the David Bodie situation. He was a non-roster invitee who signed a minor league deal, who opted out of that contract. And that was what sort of preempted this trade. So worth pointing out there. Stockton Slaps wants to know, was Snell and Smith arguing in the dugout? We Anthony, I think you said it earlier. We haven't seen any post-game clarification on that. I think the body language experts would tell you that it might have been an argument. I think the announcers, I didn't necessarily agree with them. David Cohn thought when Snell raised his hand that he was talking about how high the ball bounced off the dirt. That was not my interpretation of what Blake Snell was saying. I don't know if he wanted the target higher and that he was kind of blaming that for why he maybe buried a couple curveballs. I'm not exactly sure, but we don't have any information. And Blake, as far as I can tell, I haven't seen anything on social media where that's been clarified.
I haven't checked yet. I don't know if it was much arguing as like just kind of debating or figuring things out in the moment, trying to get on the same page. So
that's exactly how I took it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like until we actually hear anything or know anything, I wouldn't like put any stock into it being a concern or anything like that.
Okay. Japan questions time for you, Blake. NS wants to know, will you show us the swag you bought in Japan?
I only have a few hats with me, so it would have to be a different stream if we want to see more stuff, but I can show. I already showed the Otani hat. I got this one, which has like designs on it.
There you go. Some characters.
Then I got Tokyo Series 1.
Nobody loves the hat with the multiple team logos more. Oh, you doubled up on the Tokyo Series hats.
Okay, so I'll tell a story about this one first, but I'll show this one too. It's just the normal Tokyo Series 1 with this patch on the side.
That's cool.
So this hat I was wearing, and one of the Dodgers team owners, like his wife, saw it and she told me she liked it a lot. So I was talking to her about it, and then I might end up sending this one to her. She's seeing if she can get one first, but yeah, she was in the group with like Billie Jean King and some of the other ownership people and family members there. So I thought that was kind of funny. Just like randomly going through an elevator at the stadium, like owner's wife tells me I have a great hat and wants one. I told her like where to get it, but the line for that store was crazy long. So yeah, it's funny how stuff like that works. And then also coming home on the plane ride, I was sitting next to one of the people who's like, I guess the publicist type thing for someone who's done all the murals around like Otani in LA, Robert Vargas. So we're going to have him come on our show sometime soon. So yeah, it's funny how things work like that. And when you're just around all the time making connections and everything,
Yeah. The person that I'm going to be chatting with tomorrow, all things go according to plan, I met at spring training. He was standing right behind me. 99% of people probably would have walked right past this person. And I just said, hi, introduced myself, asked if he had time for an interview. He said, hey, I'm actually leaving on a plane like as soon as this inning ends. And that's why I'm standing here on the concourse and not somewhere else in a box. And so, but he was nice enough to give me his number. We coordinated. So it is funny that sometimes it's just right place, right time. I'm with Anthony. Send that to the owner's wife. Here's a return address. If you wanted to mail a check, you have you are part owner of the Dodgers. So just keep that in mind, that it would be really hard for you to get one of these before. Hawaiian Kier wants to know,
maybe like the one-on-one with Otani type thing. Don't need the money. Just get that interview for us.
Totally. There you go.
Get season tickets, man.
Hawaiian Kier wants to know your most memorable experience or the most fun thing you did in Japan.
I did a lot. So like I never really had a break. I was doing like vacation-y stuff when I was off, and then like the work stuff the other time. So yeah, I did the Sky Tree, which was really cool, which is like the tallest tower in the world. You can go up there like 450 meters up in the sky and look over all of Tokyo. So that was really cool. I went to Mount Fuji. That was really pretty. It was very cloudy over the mountain, so I couldn't like see the peak of it. But yeah, it's a huge mountain.
You didn't climb it? You didn't get all the way to the top?
I did not. No, I didn't have the time for that, unfortunately, or else I would have,
I love Blake's description. It's a huge mountain.
It's really big.
I think that's what it was. I did the Shohei pop-up event thing where I got that hat, which it was just funny seeing like how crowded it was and how many people around there. And that was at the Shibuya crossing, which is like the busiest crosswalk in the world.
Did you do the cat temple?
I did. I saw a cat, so that was cool. Um,
Just flip all these
One
things.
cat. There's a whole cat temple. There's one cat there.
there was one like real cat. Yeah, the
Oh,
rest
wow.
were like hidden or not coming out. But yeah, that one cat had like everyone
tough.
going to it.
That's tough marketing. Hey, we're the cat temple. There might not be cats, but
There was a lot of like clay cats. So, but yeah, I like that a lot. It looked really
some
cool.
people would say clay cats are better than real cats, Blake. So that might have been an advantage for you.
I mean, those people are wrong. Cats are great, but you know, to each their own.
Okay,
What
Iris
else?
wants to know, what in Japan would you like to have in the U.S., whether it's food, a way of life, convenience?
Convenience
I think like
store.
yeah, okay, so the convenience stores were awesome. Like 7-Eleven had fresh food and it was all cheap. Every meal there was like cheap. Like you could go spend a reasonable amount of money and not like it is here where you're paying like double the cost that you should be paying for food. Like I like that everything was reasonably cost there. Like you could have breakfast with a sandwich and a side and a drink type thing for $5 or something and feel like you don't really get that here, or at least not quality. But the 7-Eleven having fresh food was awesome because it was right outside my hotel. So I could just go there and grab it real quick.
And I want to vouch for you real quick because, look, as you know, there's nothing more than I would like to pile on to Blake for going to convenience stores and talking about 7-Elevens in Japan. But multiple people that I talked to who have been to Japan said the 7-Elevens are awesome there because, to his point, they have great food and it's fresh. And that's where a lot of people like get meals. So it's not like taquitos sticking on the roller here in the United States. I just want to back you up a little bit there, Blake.
Yeah. I mean, they even had like a dining area after you bought your food in the 7-Eleven. Like it was very different, but it was really cool. I think the one thing I'd want, yeah, game environment. I like that, like the Korean games, the Japanese games, the World Baseball Classic games. The game environment is a lot more fun, I think, than Major League Baseball environment. But I was gonna say, like the people, everyone is really nice and helpful there. I think that's probably the one thing I'd want to bring. Like it's a more collectivized society instead of individualized like we are in the US. So I like that aspect of it. And you also cut me off from the things I was doing out there. I also went to Tokyo Disney and I went to a petting zoo and I got to see lemurs, which was probably my favorite thing. The lemurs and capybaras.
There you go. Okay, well, to be fair, the question was, what was the favorite thing that you did? So I thought after we got to 3 or 4, we might be done with the answer. So apologies for cutting you off. We could get to 6 or 7. That's fine. That's on me. I got to do a better job.
It was like the petting zoo was also like the capybara cafe type thing, and it was right outside the Tokyo Dome. So like they had a ton of different animals, and you got to feed them and stuff. I had little chickens eating out of my hand, which was awesome.
Was that morally ambiguous for you to have your favorite food? Yeah, you look at the thighs and say, "Friends, I will not touch those thighs. I promise you." The breasts, on the other hand, if they would serve me one of those around here, I'd be all over it.
Yeah, they were very cute. That's all I'll say about this. But yeah, the animals, I like seeing them all because they had a lot of unique ones that I haven't seen before, and I like animals.
Okay, NS wants to know, which did you like more, Japan or Korea? That feels like a complicated, loaded question.
I like Japan more. I think I had more fun doing things there. There was more to do that I enjoyed that was for me type things, like going to Disney was really cool, and the animal stuff was really cool, and I really liked the cat temples and the other temples I went and saw. So I did like Japan a lot more.
There you go. I have not been to Japan. I've been to South Korea. Anthony, have you been to either place? Not
been to Korea. I've been to Japan a couple of times to play baseball.
Okay, there you go. Well, Korea is awesome, but I haven't been to Japan. ADK wants to know what you ordered at Tony Roma's.
I got the chicken Alfredo pasta.
It's perfect. Please tell me that's a real answer.
It is a real answer.
You actually went to Tony Roma's?
I did.
It's amazing.
Oh
my gosh. I thought you were joking. I thought that was a total troll job of Matt.
And got an Italian dish.
An Italian dish at a barbecue steakhouse type place in Japan. It's perfect.
I'll even say I went there twice.
You went there twice?
I did.
Did you get the same thing both times?
No. I got a burger the next time.
Yeah, don't be ridiculous, Jeff.
I shouldn't have followed up. I should have just let myself believe that wasn't a real answer. It's amazing. Player wants to know, Blake, what was the best thing you ate in Japan? Please say the chicken.
I'm not going to say that.
Please
I'm
say
not
the
going to say
chicken is right.
that. I went to a barbecue restaurant that was really good. I got like the beef and the garlic rice and all that. So that's probably
There
the
you
best thing I had.
Did you eat any ramen?
Or no, I've had ramen. I don't really care for it, so it wasn't like
Did you eat any sushi?
no.
You're not a sushi guy. I know you're
I
not a
don't.
sushi
I
guy.
don't
I
do
just
like
feel like as a
seafood at
fan,
all.
maybe you try it.
Him and Teo.
No. Yeah, Teo had some elite takes, not liking sushi and liking ranch. Like good opinions right there.
Okay, I just have to ask. So we did 2 Tony Romas meals. We did Taco Bell. We did McDonald's. And a bunch at convenience stores.
Did you have anything Japanese?
The Japanese
yeah,
barbecue. Yeah. Like so like 3 or 4 times maybe we're doing localized stuff, we think, food-wise.
Are we counting the egg salad as
No,
like
that does
Japanese?
not count.
Well,
egg salad does not count as Japanese food. I
from
know everybody says it's
7-Eleven.
amazing.
Also,
I don't blame you for ordering it.
Also, the barbecue, like, I mean, it is a Japanese style, you know, I get it, but like barbecue is also like,
Wait, they had an egg salad sandwich with teriyaki chicken on it that someone on Twitter recommended me to get. So I tried that one. Does that count? Because that was good.
Like 40% of the way. Oh yeah, Anthony, were you on here when Blake talked about how the Wagyu was fine, but he wished there was chicken?
I was told about it like on the next show or something. I was not on the show when he said it.
It was hard to find like chicken. It was only chicken thighs pretty much everywhere. Or like, I think I saw chicken neck, which I've never tried and don't think I would.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so no ramen, no sushi. We did a couple beef, little chicken, not the thighs. Okay.
I tried to do the pancakes that were recommended to me. I went to the place and they were like booked out of reservations for the day. And I saw you had to go at like 8:30 in the morning to book a reservation and then go back at like 11 when they actually opened. You couldn't do it online or on the phone or anything. So yeah, I was disappointed about that one.
Okay. And did you try pizza? Wasn't somebody telling you about Japanese pizza?
Someone did. I didn't get a chance to try it.
Okay. There you go. Stockton wants to know, was Disney overpacked?
I don't think so. No. Well, I only did Disneyland and not Disney Sea. So I think Disney Sea probably would have been more packed. I wanted to see Disneyland and compare. And yeah, so no, it wasn't too bad.
Did you try tempura? The people want to know.
No.
Do you know what tempura is?
Isn't it like fried kind of thing with batter or something? Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. GI says it must have been terrible eating Wagyu instead of chicken. By the way, Laura says that if you want to count chicken teriyaki on egg salad, that she says if you want it to count, it counts, Blake.
Yeah, you're not getting that here. Find me that here and tell me it doesn't count when you find it here.
Hold on. You're saying you can't find an egg salad sandwich here? I understand it might not be
chicken teriyaki.
You can find it here.
With chicken teriyaki on it.
Okay.
You can make one. You can make one pretty easily. There you go. That's unbelievable. Blake, look, it's never failed to disappoint at this. I thought the Tony Romas order was fake, and that's fantastic. Was it good?
Oh, it was fine. Like, it was more just like I wanted to go sit down somewhere and kind of relax and not think about anything, so that was easier.
Okay.
Also, Tim, who was in the chat commenting earlier, took me out to a restaurant called Jonathan's with the robot servers. That was a cool experience. And I did get chicken there. Got chicken teriyaki. And I think I had beef with that too. And rice.
Yeah.
So
you love chicken more than anybody I've ever met. And like, I'm not anti-chicken. It's like, I love it. You're just all in on chicken.
The best.
Yeah. Some might disagree on the best, but it's good. We can all stack hands on chicken is good. Anthony, are you a thighs guy? I know chicken thighs is a very like controversial, divisive topic.
You know, chicken breast is not a super popular part of the bird aside from here.
Yeah. Like
other countries in the dishes that they make don't necessarily use chicken breast. So I think that's a very American thing where like that is quote unquote the best part of the chicken. But other places like in soups and broths and, you know, other dishes, like it's not so much chicken breast there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. So, okay. No chicken katsu.
Shout out to Tim taking us out Yeah, and yeah, my mom also made the trip, so she got a little vacation out of it.
We did have somebody say that Jonathan's is the Japanese version of Denny's.
I could see it. I got the vibe, kind of. It was deli-like.
Okay.
Or diner, I guess is the term.
Robot servers, though, so we got that going.
Yeah, the robots even were like little decorated cat type things.
There you go. They're more not real cats, but in theory, cats involved. So, folks, thank you again, Blake. 100%, 10 out of 10, no notes, never disappoints on your food reviews. Anthony and I will be back Sunday night, and I've already given him a homework assignment. Dodger Stadium has released some new food items, and we're going to draft those on Sunday. We might have to. We'll see if Matt or Blake wants to join us for that.
I'll be at the stadium tomorrow and Saturday also. So
okay, so you're getting some inside information. See, that feels like an unfair advantage. That feels like an
I
unfair
wonder if they have
advantage.
egg salad sandwiches.
There you go. Yeah,
they have the chicken katsu.
There you go.
I was thinking of trying that, and the s'more nachos. Yeah, I want to try those.
Okay, well, hey, don't spoil the draft here, all right? Chicken katsu is very good.
Drafting. We're just
you're not.
We're doing like the draft prep. We're talking about the prospects.
Yeah, there you go. It's true. Yes, Stephon Diggs. We haven't talked about this, Blake. Stephon Diggs, you all in?
I hope he's healthy because they badly need receivers.
Yeah. Stephon Diggs doesn't feel like a Blake kind of guy necessarily. I don't know how you're going to like the attitude.
Don't eat some chicken breast. It'll heal him up.
No, I want a receiver who wants the ball every time and thinks he's good enough to, because they haven't had anyone since like Edelman who's been decent.
Jacoby Myers slander.
Okay, yeah. He didn't really like break through until his final season with them, though.
He's fine. He's not awesome. He's fine.
And here's where we went off the rails.
Yeah, we went off the rails like 10, 15 minutes ago. So to the people that are still in with us, you're the real ones. That is Blake Williams. That is Anthony Witrado. I am Jeff Spiegel, folks. Enjoy the rest of your day. If you missed it, the Dodgers 2024 docuseries on Apple TV Plus, Fight for Glory, it's 8:10 West Coast. I believe it's releasing at 9 p.m. That technically qualifies as tomorrow. You have 45 minutes to prepare yourself for that. Go stay here on our YouTube page. We did an interview with RJ Cutler, who's the director and executive producer. He is Emmy Award winner, Oscar nominated director. And I've gotten to see the whole series, and I think it's really, really good. And I think you'll enjoy it. So check that interview out tonight before you get a chance.
I'm starting.
Can we say to keep an eye out for someone's favorite reporter?
Someone's favorite reporter. Yes, Blake's mom's favorite reporter might make a cameo if you stick around until episode 3. So, yes, I was able to. I said, Blake, you're not. I'm pretty positive that I'm not allowed to have taken a picture of this and sent it to anybody because it's like I feel like I signed my life away to be able to screen these things. But yes, look for the yellow polo in the World Series celebration. You'll see our guy Blake right in the middle of it in a good spot. So. It's good stuff. Go ahead, check that out. And again, stay tuned for the Dodger Blue YouTube page. We've got a bunch of fun interviews, as Blake and I have alluded to, coming up. Anthony and I will be back here on Sunday night, folks. Enjoy the rest of your night. Until then, again, that is Blake. That is Anthony. I am Jeff. Good night. Go Dodgers. They win 5-4. And yes, still champs.